Morning. Good Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos Parshas Vayetze. The Rambam today is in Hilchos Bikkurim, and we're going to discuss two halachas in the Rambam. More than two, but we're going to stress these two. The Rambam Hilchos Bikkurim Perek Vav halacha Tesva writes: the shiur, kama shiur ha'isa shechayeves b'challah, malay ha'oin mekemach bein me'echad mehei minem bein mechamishtam kulam mitzarfim shiur. And that's the shiur. There's a shiur. Halacha Tazayin goes on and says a very interesting halacha, which is what the main discussion will be on. Asur la'adam lasas isasei pachas mikashir kedei lepavchim menachal. If there's a shiur, there's a way to get around it, right? Make a little less than the shiur, and then finish up, put it away, make another, make again, brush it away. Now, obviously, the way we give challah doesn't matter much because we give a drop, but if we give the shiurim that were mentioned in the previous parak, it can amount to a significant portion. So you have an easy way out. It says also, forget a bit what's the source of that is, sir? We'll discuss. Hamafresh challah me'isa shehid b'chusa mikashir loy asa klu. Somebody is mafresh challah from an isa less than the shiur, he didn't do anything. Right? As soon as you read this, it strikes you. I mean, if there's you just said before that there's a shiur, so why would less than a shiur work? And if it doesn't work, what does he have to stress? I mean, as if there's sadly also klum, but it's not going to be chulum. Also, isa b'chusa mikashir v'afa v'nosan apas l'sal. If he made an isa less than the shiur, he baked it, and he went and put it into a basket. Chazar v'afa pas acheres v'nosan l'sal. Then he went and did another one, put it into the sal. Im miskabed v'sal shiur challah hasal mitzar from the challah mafresh challah menapas. Again, this Rambam is like Omer Dershuni because his length of description here is incredible. In the Gemara, it just says a simple line that if a person bakes, puts it into a sal mitzarfim, that's it. Less than a shiur, and a sal mitzarfim. So here, he put it into the sal. I mean, what do I give? I bake, then I put it on the side, then I put them all into the salads, and that was so like, in descriptive here, which is again uncharacteristic of his desire to be short and to the point. Okay, and then he brings a pasuk, which is unclear how he learns in the pasuk, but we'll see. There's a Ram that explains it, not that explains the Rambam, but the way he. Shenemar, v'hoye ba'achal chamilachem haaretz melamed shehu mafresh min ha'ofli. So, this is only a proof that you can be mafresh from ofli. Like there's a sifri that says, what happens if a guy forgot to be mafresh min ha'isa? You can mafresh min ha'ofli. But the Rambam is not trying to tell that. He's bringing it on the halacha that asal mitzar from. How does that tell you that? So there's an explanation of that. The challah that this is the mucker for that halacha is a chiddush because in the Gemara it doesn't say it. But the Rif has such a girsa. Now, they're not Tana or something. Okay, so the next halacha. A lot of halakhas on this Rambam, besides what we just mentioned, the order, the way he presents the halachas, which Pashtus, after he finished saying how much is the shiur challah, he should have said that you can't be mafresh. If he needs to say that you can't be mafresh less than that, he should write I'm mafresh challah me'isa shekusim shiur le'asa klum. And he should write if he needs to say that. Then he should tell us also Adam lasses make a share. The fact that those two halachas are the Raisa, this is the Rabbanan at best. If the Rabbanan. So why does he, right after this, he tells you Asr, and then he tells you the halachas. Okay. Now, this is in Challah. When it comes to Hilchas Meiser, which we learned already, there, Paragim Allah, he tells you just the opposite. Mutter laharam al atua. It is permissible to cheat. That word is not cheat, but to allude, and using the tool lahachnisa b'moitz to bring it in when it's still in its shell. It has the shell on it. They should he's going to be butter nice. And then he can use it in a way that he doesn't have to even mice. So the question is obvious. Why Challah is he so makbid and why mice are not? It's not only mice, it's truma and mice. Now, there's another halacha which we're going to see that you can, whether you can be myrim, so to speak, is there's another halacha that in order to be chayiv and meises, you have to bring it into the house through the front door. And then that was the front gate and the front way. But if you go roundabout way, as the Gemara calls it, derech gagois v'kafifos, you bring it in through you lift it up through the roof and bring it in through the chimney or other ways. But the meises. So is that okay or not? No, we'll find out. Mara Brachis and in Gittin, Mara speaks about the greatness of the Deiris Rishonim. The earlier generations can't compare to the later generations. Why? Because Deiris Rishonim may machnisim perisayim, they're taxing them for the chayim. They need to bring it up front. They're not being chayim through the front gates. There's a so you could say that the Gemara is being very critical of the Deiris Achronim, but the Lashon Gemara does not sound like it's usher. Sounds like a mile of the Deiris Rishonim. However, there are those who learn that it is the Achronim kachzach in this, whether it means an isser or not an isser. But they did a wrong thing. So this usher could be a wrong thing. That's why I said before, if at best it's an issur rabbanan, it could be less. Maybe just it's not the right thing to do. That's what Rabbi Moshe Perlstein did. So that would be equivalent. Don't do things to get around mitzvahs. Now there are those who bring from this all the rayas to this sugya, getting around mitzvahs, doing things that don't have mitzvahs. Marshal, we know when wearing arba kamfus without tzitzis in the shiur, being the risk. All these discussions come in. So Tutzach and Achreinim, this is a big source of that halachas, of these halachas. In other words, do we look for loopholes or not? Okay, but I don't know that that's what's going on here. Interestingly, there is a Ritva in Gittin that brings out this Gemara Bayir A as a mile of the Deiris Achronim. And despite the fact that Deiris Rishonim held one way, the Deiris Achronim did what halacha says. They weren't despoiled. They didn't they didn't go crazy. They didn't become despoiled. As they hear the halacha, they never done. No, it's sort of a praise to them. There are other rayas, like Mishalmi brings that it was Rabbi Yehuda used to bring in through the Gagais. And Rabbi Yehuda Bei Rabbi would complain to him. And it's hard to believe that Rabbi Yehuda did something that was awesome. So now it's hard to believe. It's not believable. So it's hard to say that that's an issur. So akapanim the kasha is very, very strong. What's the difference between Challah and Trumas and Meises? Then there is an interesting piece of Gemara regarding Challah. Famous piece of Gemara, Gemara in Pesachim, Daf Mem Ches, Hanin Nashe Dan Nohug Lemefer Kapiza Lepischa. Because you're afraid, obviously, when you're baking for Pesach, that it shouldn't come to Chas v'Sholom Chometz. So you bake it in a way where you're less. If you do less, it's easier to control. So they baked it less. So the Gemara tells him, Abai said, what are you trying to be? Machmer. So that's a kula, because you're not going to have to take challah. You can mafkalim a challah. So the Gemara says, they love the Rabbi Lezer. That's the Rabbi Lezer that the Rambam expanded. I want to read the Rabbi Lezer's words. Arayda b'noisen l'sal, asal b'tzar from the challah. That's the long description of the Rambam put into asal. This is the words of Rabbi Lezer. So here, they're not even doing it to part from challah. That's not their purpose. Their purpose is to do the right thing, to avoid chometz chas v'sholom. However, that's also, you gotta make sure you take challah. Okay, so they just to note, the Mechaber Taf Nun Zayin Sif Aleph starts off, and the Alter Rebbe also similar l'shonis. Mipnei shetzorech ledagdig b'shir isa shaloi lahar b'yibah b'shum chashash chim. That's not a chomer. You should be makbid. You got to be very, very careful. Umut b'shir ma'idba. He says, and if you can't do it enough that there should be a shechala, then be mitzaref it. And I can't. This is the right way. But we see how far this isser of combining of doing less than the shiur is, that even if you're doing it for the sake of chumrah, you gotta make sure it gets together. So contrast that to Trumas Amaisus, where you don't even have to worry about it. At according to Zohar. Okay, so let's try to analyze possible reasons. The Taz, there's a lot of other halachah. Now, this is I don't want to get into the Arichas. The Alter Rebbe is so beautiful. You read the Alter Rebbe there, it's like incredible how he explains this halacha. But in the Mechaber, in the Ramah, brings this halacha in a half a line. Right? Amala, it's Yesh Eimen the Mutale b'Yomtiv Lolish Pachas Mekashir. They lift the Atzim and Achal. If you're going to bake on Yom Tov, on Pesach, that is, it's okay to bake Pachas Mekashir. The reason for that is because what do you do with the challah? You're going to leave it out. It becomes chametz. So therefore, avoid everything. That's mutter. That's mamish mutter. Because there it's not already a shaila of baking matzah for the sake of chumrah. This is just the chumrah of on the time of Yom Tov. Zog the Taz, Pachas Mekashir doesn't mean you're going to you want to bake enough for 10 people and challah the way our wives bake. No, he's making Pachas Mekashir, Pirush V'Suloi, Yolush Klal. That's it. He's only doing Pachas Mekashir. He's not baking more. I don't know to when, but not making more now. I guess till he consumes this. V'im lo Yolush, these are Pachas Mekashir. Yes, because if he will, then I'm sorry. He's a bottom of the yes, lock Hashem it's powerful. Oh, nice. You're right. You can let somebody. What the Taz is saying, and it could be that's shocked in the sister. We're not, and that would make sense how the Rambam brings it right away afterwards. That really would be permissible. But we have a big chashash. You're going to bake. You're going to put it into a basket. In December, then you're going to go bake more. You're going to put that in the basket. You're going to think you're butter. And you'll be able to miss it. Well, this is although it doesn't say that anywhere. Other than this Taz, it's a Kenzai. Now, in addition to that, the Chak Yankiv, Shulchan Aruch says, Shasher, Chalas Chutzlar, it's talking about a challah that's Rabban to begin with. You're going to go make a new chashash. And people know if they're going to be mistaken, they're going to be maverish. So what's going on? There's a Tashbitz, Chuvas, that writes, Osur Laharim, and he writes the reason, Kadesh Tishtakach. So Tishtakach, Teres Chal. Another reason, another possible reason, but again, it's hard to understand that that's the, without any, that I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying a blanket Allah. Okay. Let's analyze perhaps another approach. And again, these are halachas. They could be the reasons, and they're definitely legitimate reasons why to answer. But I'm just saying that in the fact that the absence of the Rambam alluding to any chashash, and just saying it, there is a sugya of shtakach challah, but that's not here. That's not here. Okay, we said the order of how the Rambam writes and the diukim that we already made. I want to make another interesting diuk. Last parak hey, the Rambam puts out halacha, and there's where he said mitzvahs esed. Where he says this is like 25 halachas before. Mitzvahs esed lahafresh truma min ha'isa l'kayim, and he writes how much you need to give. And then he writes a whole bunch of halachas, and then he writes a whole bunch of halachas in Perek Vav, till he comes to halacha tesvav, and he finally writes kama shiur isa shechevet b'challah. Now you would think that when you're telling me halacha, I got to take isa and challah, the first thing you would tell us not how much I have to take. Well, how much do I need in order to take? No, that doesn't come along till 25 halachas later. So it's a little hard to understand why would he do it. And that's really, in a certain sense, that bothers me from the biggest of all the artists. Why he says that? Okay, I just want to tell you the Ran in the Ran on the Rif in Psachim. The Rif is the one that quotes this pasuk of on Rabbi Loz's halacha of Asal Mitzarfa. So the Ran says the fact Alma the Zimnim the loy mechayiv meisa umechayiv basar the hava lechem. The fact that the pasuk is telling you to take it then means you weren't mechuyev till then. So that's the way you learn Pshat. That's what the Rambam is referring to, even though the Rambam again doesn't explain it, but the Rambam doesn't explain how he learns things. By now you did shiur fasah, and before that you weren't mechuyev because you was less than a shiur. That indicates there was no shiur before. It's interesting. So it seems that the pasuk is telling you, according to Ran, that there's a chiyuv that starts in lechem. That's when it's baked, and that's what they're referring to. But in the main pasuk, Reishis Arisa Seichem Challah Terima Truma, Rashi teaches Arisa Seichem Kshetelushu K'dei Isaschem She'atem Regilam Lolush Midbar, which is an Aimer legal guy. Listen, the Rambam said in Halacha Terimu. So you have to. The pasuk seems to stress Isa. And here, the chiyuv comes in lechem. So, it's okay, good. It's a new din. There's isa, there's lechem. So here, I want to maybe again suggest a possible thing. That unlike Truma and Maisus, as soon as you make the isa, that isa has a cheftza of challah. We're going to go with the traditional cheftza gabra thing, which means mitzad the isa there is already a challah potential in it, and then in fact it's mechuyev as challah. That's not the shiur yet. I want to compare it like in Isser. There's a concept of chatzi shiur, which means that there is already but according to it might not be us. There is us, not us. Now there is already a challah aspect in the hefts of this isa. However, it doesn't become a chiyuv, actual chiyuv, the chalais of the chiyuv on the person, and therefore making it a negayah to me is only when there's a shiur. And that's why the Rambam goes in this long-winded description of how the sal is mitzvah. First, Nosan, apostle sal. And then he baked another, put it into the sal. In this gabetz, the sal, shiur, challah, sal, mitzvah, in other words, it's not because you might think, there's an opinion that holds that it won't be Nesur unless while it was still an Isa, it touched and it was Neishek and it literally connected. No, what he's trying to say, there's no connection. So how did this Chayzer V'Neir on this first part that was already in the Sal and sitting there, because he put in another bottle, how did that suddenly happen? That's what he wants to stress, that there's already in the Sal already something there that's shaykh to not shaykh, has in it an aspect of Challah. Not an Isser, but it's like a Chatzi Shiur Challah. And forget, that's what he learns. Since the mitzvah, there's no shaila that the pasuk is stressing Reishus Arisa Seichem, it's Isa. The Chiddush is, so the Chefts of Challah starts in an Isa. However, and not that it comes on later and the Shasa was Isa is nothing. There's already a Chefts of Challah Isa. But it tells a Chiddush that you can be mechuyev in it actually later. You can become the chiyuv to the person comes later. And therefore, all the dinim that go along with that. That at least can give us some, again, that doesn't solve it 100%, but I believe it gives you at least some possible understanding. Why did the Rambam wait so long to talk about the shiur challah? Because it's not a gay to the etzem dinei challah. It's the dinei challah start right away. There's dinim. In other words, challah is the etzem in the Easter. Navas, the chiyuv won't come till later. So if I can, he dafka leaves it for later to tell you this. They must say, that the Easter lasts the Lashon is also interesting. They look potro min achallah. What do you potro? So there shouldn't come a chiyuv challah? No, because the challah b'etzem is already there. It just had the hefts of the challah. Navas, you're not mechuyev yet. So you're going to pattern this Isa from challah. Don't do it. There's already something there. And that's the dogish of the Rambam. If you were mafresh challah, like asa klum, even though there is already something there, maybe there is some kind of something there to my hafrasha. No, but that's not enough. That can know, but maybe I need to take that hafrasha just like I do with the Isa and hold it and put it in with the rest and then the other half later and then combine them in the, no, it's nothing. That's why he has to stress both. It's also chulum k'shayis has no value. And that's why, that's the order of the way he writes it. First, he says, osr. Oh, that means that you're telling me there is something to the challah before. Otherwise, why is it osr? Like he says, his isser comes from the fact that there is some kind of a demand of challah from the chefts of the challah. There's like a chatzi shiur demanding, make me a shiur. So there's a gather challah, therefore he has to write, but I'm afrish. Chus v'shir is not good. And since he's no gather afrasha, so he has to tell you, yes, in afresh it's not the star, but in the sal itself it's a star. And that's the order of things. So it could be that when the Rambam is the reason that there's a special Isra in Challah, because Challah is different. Challah begins in the Isa. Challah begins in the Isa. All right? Which doesn't apply to Trumas and Isis. That doesn't start till it's the Reif Nabais. It's Locha Rabbah, Agut Merav Shabbos, and it should be a Shabbos of Vayetze. The Rebbe says this is shlichus, true shlichus of sometimes that's the true shlichus, sometimes Eliezer is the true shlichus. But either way, how we should be zeicher, be able to carry out everything we have to carry out, and ultimately to be by Yetzei and end up in the end of the parasha, right away back to Eretz Yisrael. I once heard a point that there are two parashas in the Torah that there is no hafsaka at all. There are no stumas of psuchas in the middle of the parasha. And one of them is Vayetze. The other one is Miketz. And the reason for Vayetze is that Yankiv's shlichus of going out has to return at the end to Eretz Yisrael. It's one hemshich. So we should be zeichet to the Gula Mitzvah Shleima of the Karev Mamash. Thank you very much.